going back and forth for a while now on whether or not to make this video, and I suppose we both finally are.
Well, actually we've made it multiple times, but we just...
I think this is about the third time.
Yeah, well, fourth actually, because we didn't get really into the last time.
Fourth time over the last couple months.
3, I think.
Last 3 months. So where are we now? October. So yeah, we would have tried in August and September as well, I guess.
Yeah.
Took from February till then to even be able to contemplate it, I suppose.
Or want to talk about it. Want to share a little bit about it.
Yeah, have the discussion between ourselves, the pros and cons of doing it versus not doing it, and
we both really feel like we want to put it out there because there are people that we know that don't even know the story, and also we looked online and we couldn't find anything that was remotely close to what...
Yeah, the time as we're going through it, we were trying to find similar situations, and there were always really kind of major differences that made us feel like their experience was quite different to ours.
Yeah.
So yeah, even if it just helps one other person, then that's worth it. And again, if there were people we knew that had wanted to ask
but didn't know how.
Yeah, it's like, I suppose it's not easy to ask and not easy to talk about in person and that, so video seems like a good idea.
Yeah.
So, start at the start, I suppose, which would have been November 2020.
So we found out that we were pregnant and I was pregnant. I'm going to say we because it's just what we've done. Okay, so we found out that we were pregnant in November, I think around the 5th, was it? Because it was my birthday.
Your birthday, Guy Fawkes.
And Reese had bought me, I think it was like gin and some triple sec, and we were like, we'll just take a pregnancy test just in case.
I had the glasses poured out on the bench ready,
and
I was like,
it.
you know, if it's positive, then awesome, I get 2.
But like, we really weren't expecting,
yeah,
to
but
be
otherwise,
pregnant,
probably it'll be negative and then we'll have our drink.
So I went and took it. He was pouring the drinks, and we waited, like 3 minutes? And we didn't look at it until the 3 minutes were up. And did you look at it first, or did we look at it together? I can't remember what happened, but I was like taken back, like I really wasn't expecting to be pregnant.
Yeah.
Like
I was like, well, I guess they're both for me then, and I sculled them both back, one after the other.
Yeah. And then...
So that was a good, exciting little way to start it off with a celebration.
Yeah.
For me.
It was really exciting.
And for you, well, obviously just the news enough is, what a birthday present.
And then we decided to tell our midwife that we didn't want to have any early scans because of our miscarriages before that. But I'll tell you about that in another video. So we went for our first scan at 12 weeks and we saw her move, and I was like, is that her moving?
Yeah, we'd never
so
been
crazy.
Anywhere near 12 weeks, and because I think there's that kind of 12 weeks is when you're sort of a little bit safer as well, so that was a huge milestone, and every day from there on was just completely new.
Yeah, it was.
Territory as you go through the normal process of this is what it must be like for, everyone.
Yeah, so we saw her moving and I was like, wow, this is so crazy. And then we got the photos. We showed everyone the photos because it was just the most exciting time. It was the most exciting thing ever. Like, we were just so excited to show everyone, like, this is our baby. And then we went for the Down syndrome scan and she didn't want to play ball with that. And
she wouldn't get in the right position because they had to have like I think it was like a straight on view of the head, so they could measure from one side to the other, like the width or whatever.
I thought it was the what is it called? The spine.
Oh, I don't know, maybe it's that. Whatever it is, they needed her in a sort of certain position.
And
she wanted to be in any other position.
We were in there for half an hour, I reckon, just trying to get her to move, trying, everything. And then, whatever she's called,
ultrasound technician?
Okay. The tech, anyway, we'll just call her the tech. She was like, I'm going to try one more time, and...
It's not ultrasound, is it? No, it is. Yeah. Oh, anyway. Get too caught in the details.
She said, I'm going to try one more time, and if it doesn't work, you're going to have to come in another day. And bear in mind, this was over 12 weeks. It was heading into the 13th week, and they can only do it in a...
yeah, we were coming up on the deadline. It's going to be cutting it really close if we had to come back for another appointment.
Yeah.
And then there's the worry of what happens if she doesn't in that one.
But she did it one more time, and she just caught
really quickly, and they just quickly stabbed down on the button, and it was like, oh, maybe that'll be okay. I'll have to go and consult someone else, and then they were like, yeah, no, that's all right. So that was a happy ending.
Yeah.
And a little stressful ordeal.
Then the next step was my midwife brought her Doppler over, and we heard her heartbeat for the first time, which was really cool. And Reese got some clips of the heartbeat for me, and it took a while to actually find it because it was hard to find her heartbeat because of the placenta where it was. The placenta was at the front instead of at the back or along the side or something.
Yeah, I believe every pregnancy is different. Like sometimes the placenta's behind the baby, and then it's easy to get the heartbeat because the baby's at the front, whereas sometimes, as in this case, the placenta's in front of the baby, so it's kind of shielding the heartbeat a little bit.
So it sounded like the C instead of...
Yeah, but she managed to...
Yeah, she managed to find it, and it was the coolest thing ever, well, since seeing her move in the ultrasound. And... again, we shared that with people, and it was...
Are you going to put a little clip in?
Yeah, I'll put in a clip right now.
Their hearts beat faster than ours anyway, don't they?
And then it was nothing until... one day, I was feeling pains, like there were dull pains in my front right side, like almost pelvic area, and I wasn't really worried because I had been having pains throughout the pregnancy, but
there's so many different things that some people have and don't, and it's like, oh, it's kind of sort of a little bit normal, or it varies. It's hard to say. It's, you kind of just have to wait and see, and usually,
And this was throughout the day, and then when Reese got home, I needed to go toilet, and so I went toilet, and I felt like I needed to push something out. It was just on the verge of coming out.
Really uncomfortable.
It was really uncomfortable, yeah. Called my midwife. She said that it might be a prolapse vagine, and she wasn't really worried, so I was like, okay, but I really needed to push this thing out. I was so uncomfortable. I just couldn't get off the toilet because it just needed to come out, and I was so scared to just push, I didn't know what was happening. But in the end, I just pushed. It was immediate relief, and then it was just this gush of fluid just, came gushing out. And I was too scared to look, so I got Reese to look, and...
I was really confused. I was kind of relieved because I was really worried to see, blood or something like that. But it was just clear. It was nothing had happened, but something obviously happened because you heard it really loud.
So Reese called my midwife again, and she wasn't worried because there wasn't any blood, and she was just, I don't know, I can't really explain how.
Yeah, it was just a little bit like, didn't really know what was
Yeah.
going on.
Yeah.
So we kind of, I don't know, you spent all night worrying about it, didn't you? Like staying up and Googling things
did,
and
yeah.
trying to find answers because you had that sort of uneasy worry feeling, and I was
Yeah.
trying to just,
And
hoping
again,
that
I
it
was trying to like YouTube what's going on, and like nothing similar to my situation was coming up, so I was like freaking out, obviously, and
You always expect the worst, eh?
yeah,
And you try to like just hope for the best, but you just can't imagine like,
yeah,
because you don't know what, could you think about every possibility from nothing to worst case scenario.
So the next day, I think I text my midwife and said I need like a checkup. I don't know what happened yesterday. It obviously isn't good because I'm pregnant and a gush of water came
Like what could
out,
that be that doesn't matter? Like you don't have any like just
Yeah. So she said go for an emergency ultrasound, and I had to make it for like 4 o'clock.
So that I could go after work.
Yeah.
Come home from work and pick you up and go straight there.
Yeah. So that was on. Sorry, I lost my whatever it was. So I lost fluid on the 2nd.
Your waters.
Well, yeah, we haven't gotten to that point yet though.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. So on the 2nd, and then
February.
Yeah, February. Sorry.
So at this point you were like 17 weeks. So that was your 17 weeks in one day.
So yeah, on the 2nd.
Yeah, which was when that happened.
Yeah. And then she sent me for the ultrasound the next day, and they had confirmed that there were no waters around, so there was no fluid around the baby
At all.
And the thing is, like, when they're telling you this, it's not really like worrying you because you think that
no one says like, oh, that's really bad.
Yeah.
Like, there's not really anything we can do.
All they do is
you just think like, oh, so what can we do about this? Like,
all they say is, you've lost your waters. You need to go to the hospital. Yeah. And I was like, so am I going to lose the baby? And she's like,
they wouldn't say yes or no. They're just like, it's not good, but like, just go and talk to them.
Like, all along, I have hope, right? Because they're not saying, yeah, mate, you're going to lose her. She's gone. Because she still has a heartbeat. And, she's still alive. She just doesn't have waters.
She's perfectly fine for that stage where she's at. But what we didn't know is that without the water, their lungs aren't able to continue to grow because it's breathing in the fluid and out that helps strengthen and grow their lungs. So, and if it happens at a later stage, then they might be kind of bigger and old enough to sort of,
either birth or give antibiotics so they don't.
Or if you don't completely lose all of it, like sometimes people lose a little bit and then the baby can kind of drop down a bit and plug the hole, and there's still enough around that it's, okay, but this was completely like all gone.
I also want to mention that when we went for the scan, they were doing like growth measurements as well before they had said anything. So we're like waiting, we're really just wanting to know what was up, but for the first few minutes they were doing growth measurements, and that was like, it felt like forever when you're wondering like what the heck is up, because if they're doing growth measurements, like, it mustn't be too bad. Like, I just, that was
you don't know
something
if you're
that
in shock or denial or just being optimistic.
probably like literally all of the above.
Yeah, but you don't know any better, so I mean,
no.
What?
So from there, like we mentioned, we had to go to Christchurch Women's Hospital, and that's where they did like had to put the duck up and everything. They did everything except an ultrasound because they had already confirmed that
the
fluids are all gone. And again, they weren't saying there's nothing that we can do. They weren't saying you're going to have to give birth, and she's gonna.
And the process
we're gonna lose her.
Tell her she's too small and weak to survive.
It was the next day that they said like all of this. Anyway, so we're at the hospital, blah blah. I think it was like too traumatic for me to remember because I can't really remember what they said after the inspections. I'm gonna like inspections. What did I say? All the tests that they did, like they also took some blood, and then like I can't really remember from that point. I just remember them saying some stuff and us going home and telling us to come back the next day. So we went home thinking, all right, have to come in, don't know what's going to happen. So we pack all our bags up and stuff just in case, like we have to stay in. And then we went in the next day, and that's when the gynecologist comes in, and I don't know who the other people were, like doctors, nurses, whatever, and tell us that there are, I think it was 2 options.
The first one is just do nothing and wait and see what happens.
Yeah.
But there's a really high risk that the baby will get really sick and you'll get really sick and the baby will die and you could die and pretty much you'll both keep getting worse and worse until the baby dies and then they don't have to worry about the baby and they can try and get you better.
Yeah.
Or you die and then, problem solved.
Yeah.
No, I don't know how to. Yeah.
No, yeah, I know what you mean.
Or.
I thought you were gonna say it. Or we had to. I had to give birth to her, and the journey through the birth canal will kill her.
But either way, like she couldn't really survive. They said
No.
like best case scenario, maybe you wait and do nothing, and she gets a little bit older and stronger, and is maybe just strong enough to survive being born, but with like where her lungs were and that they weren't able to get any better, they were like best case scenario, she comes out and then you hold her for a couple of minutes and then she dies anyway. So
and we really didn't
there wasn't
want that.
really getting around the fact that she was going to die.
Yeah.
It was just like how,
yeah.
like trying to pick the least traumatic way for her and us and everyone to have to go through that. This is what's going to happen. So what's the
best way, pretty much, to lose her. We made the decision to give birth, and that wasn't easy because we felt like we were killing her, because she was still alive. She was still, I want to say healthy, but she
was
doesn't have any
perfect for
fluid.
where she was supposed to be at that stage, but she was never going to be able to progress.
So we had to sign some papers and figure out like, do you want her cremated? Do you want her to be buried?
Do you want an autopsy done on the body afterwards?
Yeah. And we said cremated, yes please, to the autopsy, which
because we had no idea why that had happened. We were hoping to get some kind of answers like, did we do something wrong? Is there something we could have done differently?
So we made all those decisions. Had to pick where we wanted her cremated, like which funeral home we wanted her cremated in.
And what would happen with the remains after?
And if I wanted, if we wanted the placenta back, and
Like we said used to.
said yes to. And then I think that day they gave me a pill.
I thought we came in the next day expecting for it to happen that day.
No, that was that day.
Okay, so we were expecting for them to do it after we'd done all that, but they said just take this tablet and come back tomorrow.
Yeah.
And
So I took the tablet, we went home, asked Mum to come over, she stayed, and early hours in the morning I started feeling these really, really like intense pains, and I thought like maybe it's the pill working.
I think it was about 3 a.m.
About 2:33 a.m. yeah, and you had just gotten to sleep, and I off and on slept off and on, and I went to the toilet and I was like, no, because Reese, if you don't know Reese, he really likes to sleep, right? And he'll fall asleep anywhere. So I was like, he just got to sleep. If we go in now, like this is my thought process, if we go in now, he'll just sleep through it all and I won't have him to support me, and yeah. So Reese called the hospital and said like, what's up?
Like, hey, we're supposed to be coming in at 7 this morning, but yeah, she's in a lot of pain.
In a lot of pain, and it's off and on.
And they said, so I think it was about 3 a.m. So they said like take some Panadol and
ibuprofen to go back to sleep or something
yeah,
like that.
and see if like you can just make it till when you're supposed to be coming in a couple of hours anyway.
Yeah.
So, and then it got to about 4, so like an hour later.
And then they called back.
Or they called before that. Maybe they called back.
I think at like 3:30.
Yeah, and said actually might be safer if you just come in now. It's only a little bit earlier than you're going anyway, so just come in and then you're here if we can see how things go.
Yep.
So probably we were actually in there by like 4. So then it was like, well, you're here now, let us know if there's anything we can do, but otherwise the doctors will be around to see you as planned at 7. So yeah.
So Reese went to sleep and Mum and I just talked and watched a movie until 7 o'clock, maybe 6:30 actually. And that's when the nurse came in, and it was a suppository, so it went up the vagine, a little pill. I mean, she came in with a little pill, big pill actually, it was quite big. And then someone came in and asked if we had an ultrasound to see if she was still alive, and we said no, we hadn't. They brought an ultrasound machine down, and yep, she was still alive. She was still
yeah. And then so I think you were supposed to take a pill every 4 hours.
Get a pill up the wopsy.
Yeah. So you had the first one at 7.
The first one.
And then
between 6:30 and 7.
The next one was due like 11, but they said you could have up to 4 over, so you might have had the last one at like 7 that night, and then if it hadn't happened that whole day, I think you could have gone home and come back the next day, and they could have done it again for one more, and then take it from there, because sometimes it's really slow, takes a long time to start happening, but from 7...
from 7, well actually I had been contracting, but from 7 it had gotten more, like they were really, really strong, and the painkillers just weren't doing it for me, and they were just, oh my god, the contractions. Started contracting, really like intense contractions, man, and then I got up out of bed. I was like hunched over the bed, like rocking, just breathing.
Yeah, Nay gets really quiet when she's in pain, and she's just trying to like
get through it in my head.
And it's just like, be quiet and breathe.
And everyone has to be quiet.
Just try and
And I do want to mention that I had to tell Reese to get off his phone, and do you want to say like why? You were on your phone?
Yeah, I was just trying to like escape. Like, didn't really want to think about what was going on or be present in the moment. I was just trying to distract myself and not think about anything.
Yeah. So I did have to tell him to get off his phone, but he was trying to escape as well. And then I felt the need to pee. I needed to pee.
This was about 11 o'clock, eh?
I actually have no idea.
Yeah, so it'd have been about 4. Not quite. Yeah, because you were nearly coming up due for your next.
No, they had given me my next pill.
Oh, they had just given it to you.
They had just given it to me at 11 o'clock, and then I needed to pee. And you're not allowed to go to the toilet for some reason.
So they bring a chair with like a little bowl in it underneath.
Yep.
So they said, there you go,
pee in that. So I peed in that, and I couldn't get up. Like, I didn't want to get up, and I was like, oh, my mum had left the room.
Oh yeah, so I think Jazz
had asked us if we wanted anything,
so
and we were like, yes please, like
so your mum went to go and get her food or drink or whatever.
And then in about 5 minutes or something that she was gone, I had sat on the toilet, couldn't get up, felt like I needed to push something out once again, and then they just said just do it, and I was like so terrified. I don't know if you know, like you can see it in my face, or I don't know if I was saying it, but I was so terrified to do this. But I was just like, you have to get it over and done with, and I pushed her out, and then a couple minutes later I felt it contracting again, or whatever it was, pain. Pushed the placenta out, all on that toilet thing, by the way.
Yeah, and they took the bowl away.
Yeah.
And then
I still couldn't stand up, like I was too afraid to stand up. And then you went and got my mum, and my mum comes in and she's like crying, and
did I miss it?
Did I miss it?
She was only gone for like 3 minutes, and it all just happened just like that.
Yeah. And then I told Reese to quickly go call your mum, and then you did.
Yeah, so I called my mum,
and it really felt like she was
yeah, she got over real
like
quick.
a minute.
Yeah. So that was good.
And then
so they took her away, and they said she was born dead, and the birthing process killed her, and they cleaned her up and brought her back to us to spend some time
in like a little purple box that looked like a coffin,
and
which
she
was
had
so
like
cute.
a little blanket over her and a little beanie on and a little teddy cuddled up.
And when they took the lid off the box, I closed my eyes because I didn't know what to expect. Like, I didn't know how big she was going to be. I didn't know what she was going to look like.
You felt so bad that you had given birth to her into your pee.
Into my pee, yes. I still feel, I'm so sorry that you dropped into pee. But then, like, everyone looked, so it was Mum, your mum, me, you. Was Jazz in there? Yeah, I think she was.
And she looked exactly like a tiny little
baby,
except
man.
The skin wasn't like, it was still like
red, like
translucent, like see through.
Yeah, but she had everything. You could see like exact, like her little toes, her little fingers, and one was like oh my god, it was just. This might be heartbreaking for you to hear, but for me it was just, oh my god.
It was sad, but it was
so sad, but so like, how did we make this little thing?
It was 11:15 she was born. She was 18 centimetres long and 180 grams weight.
So she was very small, but she just looked like a baby, like
just a
tiny baby, just tiny baby. We were really surprised at like just how developed she was, eh?
Yeah, it was hard because it was like all the details of the all it needed to do was she just needed to just grow and get a bit bigger and stronger.
And we could automatically see you and I in her, eh? Because like
she's got your this.
She had like my end of my nose, but she had Reese's bridge because I don't have a big bridge. Reese has a big bridge. She had my end and your bridge, eh? It was like so cute.
That was your weird, perfect little combination with the two of us.
So we asked if she was a boy or a girl.
And they said boy.
And they said boy.
And so
everyone saw a boy, right? Everyone saw a boy.
So we named her Toby.
Yeah, Tobias.
And May was really surprised and kind of didn't believe it because she really felt like she knew it was a girl.
I knew she was a girl.
Even when they said it was a boy, she was like,
I was like, no, I don't think so. And then, so we spent...
From when she was born at 11:15 till about 5 o'clock that night.
Yeah. With her, and then it got a little overwhelming to just stare at her for so many hours.
It was getting hard to
So I put the box lid back on and I just sat her to the side, and then I felt guilty for sitting her to the side because that was the only time that we were able to spend with her.
Yeah, you're kind of like torturing yourself, but you
Yeah.
want to get as many little pictures of everything as possible because
we took so many photos and
chance,
2 videos. We had to say goodbye. I really didn't want to say goodbye. It was really, really hard for me to say goodbye. I don't know if it was hard for you, but it was really hard for me to say goodbye. Like, my mum had to shut the lid and she was like, alright, take her away, because I just wasn't going to. I really wasn't going to, because it's just so hard. Even though you don't know, even though you know she's not there anymore, it's still like your baby, eh? And it's... Do you want to take a break? Can't remember how long it took to get her ashes back. Oh no, wait, not ashes, sorry, it was the autopsy first.
The next day they called up and they were like, oh, sorry, she was actually a girl.
Was it the next day?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so she was actually a girl.
So then we named her Everleigh, and middle name Rose.
Yeah, and Reese gets really upset when you call her Everleigh Rose, like it's her first name. No, her first name is Everleigh, and her middle name is Rose. So when you talk about her, don't say Everleigh Rose because that upsets him. So that was autopsy, and then it took a while. I can't. Right.
Yeah.
Do you want to stop? It took a while to get her ashes back. But when we did, we had a little ceremony outside, and we bought some pink balloons with helium so we could let them go. And we bought a little butterfly and we put little notes on the balloons. And we had some food and said something about her.
A little speech that neither of us could read out, so your sister had to do for us. It was hard because we went through like the hard part without the reward at the end. Like, usually you have all the happiness and excitement, like that makes all the
everything with
worry and pain and all that worth it.
Yeah. And again, I can't remember how long it took. A few weeks to get her autopsy results.
Yeah, they called up and said, come in and we'll
talk about it.
Yeah, discuss our findings.
We went in, saw the gynecologist, and she had told us that I lost my waters because of a very severe infection.
So your body was trying to fight the infection, and it had accidentally, like when it was, killing the infection, it had accidentally attacked the membrane and broke that too, so the fluids all leaked out of the sac.
Yeah.
Like that's the problem with, sometimes when your body's fighting bad bacteria, it can't really tell the difference. It kills like some of the good as well as all the bad.
And she said that it was a good decision that we had made to bring on labour.
Yeah, because she would have got really sick and died, and you would have got really, really sick and could have
like
died.
On the verge of getting sick.
Because it was quite advanced. It had obviously been there for a while because it travelled right down the umbilical cord from the placenta and nearly to Everleigh.
Then we made a plan for our next pregnancy, and she said that she's happy to look after me, as well as my midwife, and that was really, like, I don't know for you, but for me it's like, my mind's kind of at ease because we will actually have, a gynecologist and looking after us, which is really nice.
Yeah, because it's not the getting pregnant, which, people have problems getting pregnant, but
and then they go through really like IVF or adoption.
Realise that, like, sometimes you can struggle with staying pregnant.
Yeah. From then on, we've just been trying to get through it, and whenever we talk about it, we obviously, Reese tears up more than me because I feel like my brain has really done me a solid and really blocked most of that out. I can talk about it, I can remember most of it, but my brain has really just blocked it out, and the feelings. And I remember one moment, like one part of it, just after we got home from the hospital, and I just couldn't see a way out of it. I couldn't see a way out of the grief. I couldn't see beyond the grief, and I just thought I'd stay sad forever, like feeling so lost and hopeless. And I don't know, it's emotional, but it really felt physical because it really felt like my heart was being crushed and I couldn't breathe and I couldn't stop crying, and that made me like freak out even more that I couldn't breathe. And it was just, it was really just...
Yeah, you're in your 20s and you're like, how can I spend the next 60 years
feeling like this
on the planet, trying to like pretend like anything else mattered or try and feel like anything else was important or care about anything when like it all just paled in comparison.
Yeah. But like I said, my brain's done me a solid and I've just really blocked it. And I do cry sometimes, but Reese is more raw, I think, about it because, I don't know, I guess it might be because I gave birth and my brain just had to do what it had to do, or it's just the way my brain works, I don't know.
Yeah, I still remember every second of it like it was yesterday.
And I don't, I really, really don't. It just comes in and out like a dream, really. But that was Everleigh's story, and I wanted to do this so everyone knows now.
Trust your gut,
Yeah.
If you're worried about something or you don't...
Push, man. Push.
Yeah, you don't know about something, just advocate for yourself and keep looking and don't settle until you find an answer that you can live with rather than one that you're given that you kind of feel... Yeah, I don't know, I guess it's
about.
like a gut intuition thing. Like,
Yeah, so push for your rights, push if you don't feel right in yourself, if your husband doesn't feel like,
or partner.
Sorry, I'm just thinking about me, or partner, whatever. If your partner doesn't feel like it's right, because you really need that peace of mind. And also, I want to mention, I know I said also, I want to mention like a million times, that ever since we've been married, people have said to us, you'd make great parents, what else? You'd make good parents, you'd have really cute kids.
Yeah, when are you going to have
When
kids?
are you going to have kids?
Are you having any luck with trying to have kids?
And
Do you have any
I don't think
exciting news?
Reese really is bothered about those remarks or comments.
No, because it's always just no luck, trying.
But
What else can you do?
it bothers me, and it does bother other people, like who have been trying and just haven't had luck, because you don't know what people are going through. You don't know that we hadn't been trying for 10 years because we had.
You can't even just not feel like drinking or something because it's like, oh, why aren't you drinking? Are you pregnant?
Yeah.
And then it's like, no, I'm not pregnant. I'm just not drinking today.
Yeah.
And then it's just, I guess.
I think just maybe think about your words before you say them, because like I said,
Not how
we
you
had
mean
been-
it, but how someone else
will
can
take it.
even if.
Because we had been trying.
It's like a reminder, like you're already really aware of the fact, and it's like having to like, yep, nope, still not pregnant.
I guess
yep,
especially
nope, still
after miscarriages, and for us, especially after Everleigh, like, just don't say it. Just don't ask if we're going to have kids, because 1 week I'm like, yep, let's have them. I want one after the other, and then another week I'm like, I really
and when
can't.
we've been like really trying and not have any luck, or trying and then you get pregnant again and then have another early miscarriage,
yeah,
and then you don't really want to talk about that one because you only just gone through the last one. You're like, oh yeah, just had another one as well. Like, oh, what is that? Yep, 4 now. Yep, 3 of them this year in the last 9 months, 8 months.
I guess that was the neighbour. I was like, what the fuck is that? I guess that's it for us, for the story.